Welcome back to Saffas Unscripted, episode 133. Today's episode a bit different. We had an interesting discussion come last weekend where we actually asked the community for some recommendations of what we could do better in the podcast, what you would like to see, and we've got a ton of feedback. But before we get into that, Brevan, how are we doing? Feeling good?
Let me just tell you how exciting this is. Firstly, thank you to everyone that commented, because we saw lots of comments and a lot of new subscribers, which is awesome. But I'm so glad. So Brevan he's still a very active rugby player. I retired about 5 months ago, and it's 6 o'clock and we are shooting. While everyone normally sleeps, we're shooting. I'm very excited that we get to shoot. It's still light outside. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for once.
Yeah. It has been a long season, guys. Long. I swear, it literally started in Jan pre-season. Started playing only in March, April, whatever. Only finished now. I mean, I love the sport, but damn, I'm keen for a bit of a break. Just a couple months,
Yeah. So right before we started this episode, we had an official meeting, the three of us. People, remember, this is not our jobs. We do this for fun. We want to grow it, obviously, but this is not our jobs. We have lives outside of this. We just do this for fun. That is why we say we don't claim ever to be rugby experts or rugby analysts or anything. We're just talking purely from a fan perspective, having some fun with it, embracing literally that. Because you get a lot of podcasts with analytics and stuff. But this is just emotion. Like when we get angry at the TV and scream at the players, we'll come on camera and scream at the players on camera. That's kind of the vibes that we're going with. But I thought, listen, I saw a couple of comments, and this is something that we're going to do every single episode. The comments that pop out and stand up that we appreciate or we even maybe disagree with, that could fuel a lovely little discussion. We're going to highlight them every single episode and talk to them or talk about them, right? So obviously we had some suggestions, and we want you guys once again to come into the comment section and discuss it with us, okay? So we kind of already started it, right? This first one, I'm not gonna name names, but in the future we'll name the names because obviously your name's in the comment section. So this guy said, I got a suggestion. And it's to be more like 2 Cents Distracted. Now, 2 Cents Rugby, massive rugby creator, but he's got this 2 Cents Distracted, which is like a podcast form where they just drink a bit of beer, chat a bit of nonsense before they actually get into the rugby, where people can actually learn who we are as people, where we just talk about how a week was or whatever, just talk a bit of shit. Because that is, to be fair, the only thing that we really do is talk a bunch of shit. So that's what we're going to do, first and foremost. You got that, boys? People are going to get to know us. So my name is not casual. It's Divan. That is my name.
My name's not Burns. It's Brett.
Or Jerry Flannery, or
Jerry Flannery. Yeah.
Mine is still Brevan. So nothing has changed from my side. But that's me.
Yeah. Also, it's very random if we ask for suggestions. Also, a little thing about me is I'm literally unbreakable. If you think you're gonna insult my hair color on a comment section, it's literally not gonna work. I mean, I see there were a few comments there. Oh, that's Mr. Gingerbread Man. These things don't affect my life. That doesn't help. So if we ask for constructive criticism and you're just going to insult us, sorry.
Brett is also very defensive.
Brett is the most straightforward person in this podcast. So
exactly.
That's for sure.
I love this one as well, right? Someone asked for live streams, and that could be interesting if we do live streams. We do a lot of live streams in terms of going live on our other platforms. On TikTok, for instance, we usually do a Friday night live if you guys want to join up there. But we can have a little chat about maybe doing a live stream during a big match maybe or something. But usually I'm on the piss then. and you don't want to get me on the camera then. It's something crazy to behold.
But we'll
That's
still do it. We'll still do it.
Yeah. With that, he also asked for maybe like fan or celebrities in terms of the rugby community. We have had a guest on before. We had JP Smith on, and that is something that we've spoke about. The issue is that most of them ask for obviously for a monetary gain from this, and and they ask a lot. So if there's any rugby players that really just want to come on and chat a bit of rubbish with us, we'll try and get them on more. We can't. I wouldn't say we gave up on that thing, but we just like kind of slowed down on it when we saw everyone's just asking for money with everything. But we'll definitely reach out to some more people and try and make it at least once a month. Get on a guest. I think that would be a fair shout to do. Yeah, that's basically it. What do we think about that? The live streams and getting fans and the guests on.
Yeah, I think I think what's cool is we can get people that are up and coming, because you know what, like, so are we. Get it? Because like, you know, we still new in this. So honestly, I think just we'll listen to you guys. If you want to see, for example, maybe, I don't know, you know, an up and coming player, like a big one there. I think let me use Ethan Adams as an example. He's a high school matric guy now. If you'd like to see matric boy, great college, obviously SA schools, come on and we talk to him. We'll try our best. That type of thing. And also going live, I think for the odd occasion, or maybe for like a Bull Stormers game, something like that would be interesting. It would be pretty interesting. So
yeah, and then finally, and this is what we are doing now, is kind of just to highlight some of the comments to engage even more with the people that actually give back into this community and watch the stuff that we put out. But we are done with our admin work. Let's actually get into this video. So please do remember to like and subscribe. We do appreciate you guys. That is it. We won't have that discussion once again. We are moving into some franchise rugby, boys. First 2 weekends done. All the South African teams at the bottom. Obviously, we've played one game less. But boys, URC round 1 was absolutely fire. All the games ended in a 5-point difference between the winners and losers. Brett, how excited are you for this URC season? Because it feels like the hype has been through the roof. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I haven't been this excited for the URC since it started. But at the same time, I'm so freaking nervous because my team, the Stormers, our team, is dead last on the log. I know we've only played one game, but it's against Ospreys. And now the next game is they're playing against Zebre that went over to beat Munster. So we now playing at their home field, and oh my goodness, I'm so nervous for this season.
Yeah.
Well, we got the victory, boy. Let's go. Yeah, but honestly, I think we were bringing it pretty tight. But yeah, I'm super excited. Because you know what, something I've realized is how much depth this tournament is building for our teams. Like when the Springboks are busy, we have to play other fringe members of the squad that are now getting more exposure to high-level rugby, and it's making them better as players. And soon what's going to happen is we're going to just build more and more and more in that depth. And just for like an example, if you look at the 8th man conversation in the Springboks, there's so many players in that conversation because of this URC, what the URC's done for us. So I'm super keen, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting season because I mean the South African teams have something to live up to now. You know, every single final since we have joined this tournament has been in South Africa. Obviously, unfortunately, when there were 2 South Africans, a South African had to win it, and the other 2 times we slipped up. But we've got to live up to our reputation, and again, we've got to bring it to South Africa because we know what it means here. So, big work to do for all 4 unions.
Well, does it mean now that a South African team has won it, a Scottish team has won it, an Irish team has won it, it's finally time for one of the Welsh teams to step up? Because that is the only thing that I can get through my head, is that somehow that the Ospreys win this URC. Otherwise, that performance of the Stormers was unforgivable. It was dreadful. It was terrible. And the only way that I can justify it is by saying, okay, well, the Ospreys are winning it this season. That's the only way. Because holy shit, have I never seen as bad performance as that. Obviously, Ospreys, well done, right? Let's not take anything away from them. What the fuck was that? What was that? I don't even know. I don't know. It was dreadful. Brett?
Yeah, I have positives in that game. I felt like a Yuri Mattia controlled the game very well. Rookie fly off. He knows that once Sasha and Mani Lebo come back, he's probably not even going to be in the squad. And he controlled that game very well. And when he went off, that's when things went a bit pear-shaped. And we brought on an experienced fly-off in Duplessis, and he had one of his worst games ever and pretty much gave Ospreys the win. So I felt like it was literally won and lost in the fly halves. And, well, that's where my main focus was on the game. But, yeah, that's what I thought. And I think that Ospreys need to know that was their strongest side. So Stormers still have half the Springbok team to come back. So, yeah. Ospreys is not winning. That's what
I was just watching that game and thinking, bring back Mani immediately. Bring me some creativity. We were lacking so much in creativity. It was an absolute joke. They are lucky that the Springboks won. They are lucky because that kind of took away all the fury that I had in my body watching that game. But Brevan, obviously your team won. Altitude Rugby Club got the victory.
When did you come up with this? Because this is new. I mean, you've been loving this whole altitude chat for the Springboks, but now that it's the Bulls, it's like,
I'll find a way to hate on the Bulls. I mean, seriously. But I wanna ask you a different question, right? Do you think that was the opportunity for Edinburgh to actually get that victory, get a massive 4 points? That was the opportunity. They were in the game for so long. The Bulls weren't playing great, and they bottled it, in my opinion. They bottled it.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the team, the Springbok team, I mean, we still have Jan Trobelaar, Nokia to come back, Michael van Staden, Willie Leroux, Kurtley Orense. So we've also got to add a lot of personnel to our squad, just like the Stormers do. So we're only going to get stronger. You guys are only going to get stronger. Not Orense.
He's going to Japan.
Oh, yeah, sorry. He does have that little stint. But you know what? Like, honestly, I just think that if Edinburgh had a time to win, it was then. Because obviously, I mean, it's a team that does have Springboks in it. But obviously not as much as what it does now, if you look at the whole picture. But I just honestly want to shout out, again, I'm going to be a fanboy, but like Cam Hanekom. Yo, guys, this guy, dude, obviously, like he's still got a lot to prove as a player. But my word, I mean, the things he's doing on the field and his work rate, it's just super impressive. So, yeah, I mean, crazy. That's what I said. That eight jersey for the Springboks is so competitive, and it's all because of the depth that the URC builds. And yeah, so anyways, got the 4 points, and yeah, we were down with literally 20 minutes to play. We were 1 point down, 20 minutes to play, and again, I think this is Brett's theory on Duan van der Merwe. He's not the player everyone thinks he is, you know. I think the Bulls controlled him very nicely in that game, and yeah, like you said, he's a kind of a Makuzolo Mapimpi type player where
his brother Akker van der Merwe had more run meters. He's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. So sorry, Edinburgh. And now Ulster, obviously, this coming up, which is. After we saw what the Lions did, I'm keen for that game as well. So interesting.
I felt like in the Six Nations, that one break where Duan van der Merwe had on the side there, in the Six Nations against Italy, he would have scored that try. But in the URC, he couldn't score that try. I thought when I saw him with the ball with one defender to beat, I thought this is the game for Edinburgh. They are winning this game because of this try. And it wasn't even a difficult tackle. I mean, yeah. So I felt like Edinburgh had that game. They just, I don't know, not quite good enough.
Yeah, fair enough. But boys, before we really start talking about what our expectations of the South African franchises are, Zebra beats Munster behind at halftime, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Right, puts 42 points over Munster. 42 points. Are we finally going to get a season? We can talk about Munster as well. Not where Zebra impressed us, right? Do we remember how they started last season? Where they were an exciting team. They were an exciting team. And they beat the Sharks as well. And you kind of thought, like, even though they don't necessarily get the results, they can put up tough performances against teams. Do we finally get a season where they actually live up to that expectation? Where it's like, okay, they're fighting to not be in the bottom three for once.
Mid-table, yeah, mid-table.
Like, honestly, what team did Munster play? Like, if you remember, like, I didn't really get a chance to see.
I mean, even if they played their D team,
no, I get that.
You're not allowed to put on 42 points on them.
Because obviously, I think Zebra went full strength. Because they have their players available, and they don't have much depth
in their roster.
No, there you go. So, but like you said, it's not very good, especially if you are leading at halftime and then letting a team like Zebra, pick up the victory. It's not a good look. I'm sure Leinster fans will be loving that because obviously they're not big fans of Munster. But I mean, and if I'm correct, John Klein is back for Munster, correct? Okay.
Yep.
So we got to be keeping an eye there as well because obviously I feel like his presence was missed a bit with the Springboks. But I mean, it's not a good look as the first game of the season. But I fully do not expect Zebra to pick up where they have just left off, if that makes sense. Like,
let's hope not.
When teams start
because if there was one team that they will put on two consistent performances against, I just feel it has to be the Stormers. It's just written in the stars to absolutely annoy me that they will bum this whole season out, but to put together two consistent performances, and one will be against the Stormers. It will be a joke. And I'm not going to lie, Brett. We'll do our predictions on Friday, but I'm already a bit nervous because they'll have a lot of confidence. Let's hope it's a one-off.
No, for sure. I'm definitely nervous of that game because it's like, but you can't really think too much about how well they played more than how shit the Stormers played. Like, I feel like if the Stormers just clean up their act, it will be better already. Like, I don't feel like, yes, Munster also played terrible rugby that second half, especially the second half. It's like they went to sleep. And also playing a B-side so early in the season against Zebra when you know nothing about them, that's also ludicrous. That's just stupidity. But to go into this game expecting the Stormers to play two games in a row that are absolutely dog shit after coming off a win the previous year and the year after that they make the playoffs, I don't think that we can look so much into that. I feel like if the Stormers clean up their act, they beat Zebra.
Yeah.
They should. That's the expectation. Yeah, sorry, Brevin, go.
So I was just going to say, players on paper, Stormers are 10 times, more than 10. A lot better than obviously Zebra. So, like I said, I just feel like when players start coming back and we get a bit of momentum like that and teams get to start gelling, together, I just think that's when we'll start seeing South African teams pick up their act, like, a lot. But like you said, you're nervous, right? I can tell you now, there's never been a time, whether we're playing Zebra, the Dragons, Ospreys, I don't care who it is. If the Bulls travel overseas to Europe,
same story.
There's not one game I have ever said we're going to win this game. And I'm not joking. because
Well,
I
this
just the unpredictability of a South African team traveling is something else. I can't wrap my head around it. It's like we
Yeah,
go
it's
to the
crazy.
UK and we just like don't know what we're doing.
It's because of the
we had-
turfs. We're not used to. We're not.
Yeah,
It's going to take
absolutely.
years to get used to that. And also, we come from 34 degrees Celsius weather. Go over there to 4-degree weather. It's easier to go from cold to hot because there you adjust, like it's like defrosting. But to go from hot to cold, it's not, now you have to climatize. So it's different. I agree with you. Whenever South African sides, especially, I don't know why, the Bulls especially, they actually last year turned it around where they had the best.
better.
But I'm talking in general, in history. Bulls have always struggled abroad. So, and Stormers last year were actually the worst traveling side. And looks like they're going to be this year as well.
I mean, we were last season. Brett, do you remember when we were on a TikTok live? We were watching the game against Cardiff, and we were like 60-0 up, cruising, and all of a sudden we lost the game. Like it's something of playing away from home, and even if it's a big game, at the end of the season we had to play against the Dragons. Yeah. Stank the place out until the final 10 minutes where he scored about 3 or 4 tries. Stank the place out when we knew we had to win that game with the bonus points as well to progress or to stand a chance to get our home quarterfinal. Yeah. I don't know what's going on, but that needs fixing immediately. Okay, because we like team, it's other teams are able to beat us at home. Look at Ospreys last season, beat us at home. You know, Munster beat us at home. They beat the Bulls at home and stuff. We need to be able to go there and beat them as well. Like it's ridiculous. Anyway,
can we just talk about? I feel like we're avoiding this so much because the Sharks were leading 27-7 at halftime against Connacht, and they managed to score 3 points in the second half, and they lost that game to Connacht. They were 20 points ahead at halftime.
How much do you take away from the Sharks or from Connacht for that performance, or how much do you just say like Connacht were good? In terms of Connacht was good or Sharks were bad in that second half? Sorry, my wording was horrible there.
Yeah, Connacht was very good, and the Sharks didn't even come out of their change room. They were so clinical and clean in that first half, and I thought, whoa, this team, they're going to put 50 on Connacht today. And then the second half, it was as if like, you know, on a PlayStation game or something, when you go from level difficult to level super easy, like it's a shit show. That's what it felt like to me.
It looked like the Sharks just got their hangover once again in that second half. I was like, they're playing decent. They're smashing Connacht, who put up a very good performance against Munster. Well, now it takes a bit away from that performance against Munster after Munster lost to the Zebra. But, you know, I called the Connacht victory from the start because I thought, okay, Currie Cup season, they probably went out partying for a couple of days and then flew over. Like, I wouldn't have too much expectations on this Sharks team for just the first week. Then they put up that first half performance. I'm like, okay, yeah, sound. They're gonna hit the guy the tournament running. Boy, oh boy, how that went up in flames. Brevan, what was your thoughts on it?
So funny story, right? Obviously, we've just finished our club Gold Cup thing where you play wherever you get drawn in South Africa. So our first round in the round of 32, we actually played in a place called Barberton, which is in Mpumalanga. It's where the Pumas play. Anyways, we win the game. We're on the way back. It's a 6-hour bus drive. Obviously, we had just watched the Currie Cup final at Barberton, and I've explained this on the pod. Anyway, whatever. Anyways, one of my lock partners, he actually went to Glenwood, the same school that Jordan Hendrickse went to, and James Fenter, etc. Blah blah blah. Next minute, we're chilling on the bus. We're celebrating the fact that we beat Barberton. We're having fun, whatever. Anyways, my mate gets a call from James Fenter, but it's like a FaceTime call because obviously they were in the same year at Glenwood. answers the phone, and there's James chilling with a trophy. And he's like, but it's quiet. And we like, bro, you just won the Curry Cup. Why are you so quiet? And Oaks are just there chilling on the bus, like calm, peaceful. So that made me think, just that on its own, that okay, kind of they've got the instruction that they getting ready for URC, you know, like this is obviously they've got a lot to prove in the URC, blah blah blah. And guys, like how do you lose that game with the talent that you have in your team? And Brett's always said it, like too many Chiefs, not enough Indians. And oh God, like they have so much talent in that team. It's crazy. Like the depth that the Sharks have, like we said, they have a top 2 team in the URC on paper and depth. It's crazy. The marketing they have around them at the moment, just everything they have in their favor outside of the game is there. But when it comes to the field, it's just, I'm sorry, like something has to, and I'm hoping when the Springboks come back and Sia and Evan and whatever come back, it's a different story. And let them be the leaders of your team, you know, let them be the ones that call the shots. Not like all of these guys who have had these leadership roles, but now that they're confused as to who's the real leader in that team. So, and it does come down to a leadership issue, in my opinion. If you're winning with 20 points at half time, it's definitely a leadership issue to be able to say, boys, there's a banana peel here. It can slip up. Don't switch off. We know that any team can come back at any time. Momentum is a real thing in rugby. And they just choked it. I mean, It's crazy. And I want the Sharks to do well because that's kind of like the main team everyone has eyes on because of the players that are in it, you know? So, yeah.
Brett, let's switch over, right? This will be our final topic, but we can actually chat about it for a little while. When you look at the South African franchises, starting off with the Sharks, what's our expectation for the Sharks? Because I'm of the opinion at the moment, even though they just lost that first game, I think the fact they'll be hurting after last year's URC performances and where they placed. But you saw how they slowly fixed it near the end of the season, how they won the Challenge Cup final, dominated Gloucester. After that, obviously the Springboks not there, went on, beat everyone and got to the Curry Cup final, won the Curry Cup final. So they're kind of on a high, right? For a team that we all judged and wrote off, they are probably at the moment looking like the best South African team, especially knowing who's coming back into that team. Where do you see in the regular season the Sharks placing?
No, I feel like if the Sharks does not win this competition this year, then there's serious issues either with management or with, I don't know, something else. Because think about this. Oxenchair, Bonge Manambi, and Vincent Koch is your front row. Eben is your lock. Sia Kulisi is your flank. The Chichuka brothers are the other two.
Fired up Sia Kulisi coming back after being called fat.
Jaden Hendricks, Sia Masuku, Andre Estrada, Am, Flippin, Mapimpi. It's pretty much a bloody full-blown Springbok side. If that fussy at the back, if this team...
Sorry to interrupt. On paper, Sharks or Leinster, who's got the strongest team?
Leinster.
No way, Sharks.
No way.
No, Leinster. I'll say it.
Okay, anyway, continue. On paper, the Sharks have the strongest.
They're both top 2, but I just think Leinster has better players in certain areas of the game.
I think Sia Masuku is better than Prendergast.
And Ross Byrne.
No, I don't know. I feel like, Andre Estrada and Lekanya Am, that's a deadly combo.
If that's your centre pairing and your 3 extra centres on the bench will be
Ethan Hooker,
Francois Venter, and Lorenzo Julius as well. Like the standout young boy.
That's crazy.
Those are the 3 replacement centres.
No, surely you have to... The SA rugby list has to be like, listen, share.
Give me one of those outside centres right now. Give me one of those.
But no, that actually bugs me. Like, and I don't want to be that guy. Like, obviously, Sharks, you have your depth, that's cool, whatever. And obviously, they're your players. But now, a player like Lorenzo Julius, Ethan Hooker, when you're starting, obviously, okay, what I'm trying to say is where are they going to develop? Now, why I say that is because, for example, Andre Esterhuizen, he's like that player that sometimes gets called up or sometimes doesn't get called up to the Springboks. And so he'll play a lot of games for the Sharks. Lokanyo, different story. We could see Ethan Hooker come in, blah, blah, blah. But like at the end of the day, the depth is so crazy. Like it is unreal how much depth they have. And like Brett said, they need to perform this season. Like it's a non-negotiable. There's a lot of people.
How mad would you be? You've been shouting for Sasha to only play at 10. How mad would you be if you saw Ethan Hooker playing wing this season? I would be
It's
furious.
a waste. It's a super waste.
He's a future center for the Springboks. Don't put him on the wing. Do not put him. We've got all the wingers in the world.
That's what I think is going to happen. I think that Juries and Ethan Hooker are going to go play for the under-21s. And as soon as the Springboks go to the end of year tour, they'll get drafted in. Hooker will probably be the left wing with Julius at center. Or other way around. It wouldn't really matter.
Yeah, I'd rather have it other way around.
Yeah, me too. But I don't care because my team's a Stormers. So if the Sharks could lose everything, yay. So I think they'll play under 21, and then as soon as I don't know how old's Ethan Hooker. Is he still under 21? I know Julius.
I don't think he's under 21, but I think he's very young. I'll let you know now.
Yeah, he's extremely young, but I think he's 22. That's what I think. That's what
21. He's 21. He turns 22 in Jan.
So yes, he can still play under 21 this year. Okay, cool. Sorted. Then they'll get enough game time, so that's where the development will come from that you're talking about. So I'm not worried about them. Guys, we haven't said anything about the Lions. The Lions are the highest ranked.
Yeah, we're getting there. We just started.
Okay, but I just wanted to
let's talk about the Lions.
No,
let's talk about the Lions.
We didn't even say where we expect them to finish.
Okay,
where I fully expect, and when I say expect, I mean I expect nothing less. I think they need to finish top 4. Like, that has to happen. Non-negotiable. Sharks, if you don't finish top 4, there's a problem. And I even said top 2, I think, a couple podcasts ago. Like, they have to be up there because of the team that they have. Like, it's I'd like to see another South African team up there, but I fully expect to see the Sharks above Bulls, Lions, and Stormers.
I've got all 4 South African teams to be in the top 8, possibly top 6. I've got 3 of them to be in the top 5. That is the expectation for this, right? You see how good the Lions have turned out. You see how good the Sharks, and I'm not dropping standards for the other boys that have, like, for the Stormers and the Bulls. I'm not dropping standards because that is ridiculous. We still got extreme talent in there. Let's move over to the Lions because Brett just mentioned it. They've been crazy good. Look at how they ended last season, URC, on fire. And in my opinion, they probably play the most attractive rugby of all the South African teams. Like, of all of them.
If my phone dies, if I go off, my phone died.
Okay, Brett, I want to come to you with someone that I thought had a very good performance. And no, it's not Kuanon, who was absolutely outstanding. But we remember the name that was walking around, Cade Voliter, when he was younger. Right? He was sensational at Paul Roos. Yeah. Obviously, young, knees got injured and whatever, and people have kind of forgot about him. I think this is the perfect move for him at the Lions if he can get consistent game time, get his form back, stay injury-free. That he could have a big season there. He could put his name up there to actually make a big move, or just from there show, listen, Sasha might be a worldie talent, but I was a worldie talent as well. And they're kind of in the same age group. Yeah,
because he's a bit older because COVID actually screwed him over after Matrick. His sign was rashed too. Literally, the French.
I think it was Montpellier, to be honest, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But then after, but there was other clubs as well involved.
Okay, yeah.
Story for another day. So the French head of rugby, whatever, I don't know, their board, whatever, they saw him as a potential French fly-off. They wanted him to run the French rugby team, pretty much.
That's just what tells you the talent.
That's what they saw in him, yes. And then obviously COVID happened and he had to come back home. So COVID just screwed him over a little bit, but then now I think now he's found his forever home, in my opinion. I think that he ran that team very well, and he's a small guy, but demands so much respect from everyone. Like I saw when he makes a call, nobody they shake their head, they go on, and it's so nice to see. I like how he.
And he's very, very reliable off the boot as well. Like,
Yes.
I mean, he's got a great kick on him. Brevin, expectations for the Lions. What do you think?
I genuinely believe they're a top. If they have a very good season, like genuinely play consistent rugby, stick to good team selection, don't chuck certain players at positions they shouldn't be playing, I genuinely think they are a top 6 team. No joke.
Yeah. With the way that they play, the way that they ended last season, I'm not surprised if the Lions beat anyone. I'm surprised if the Lions lose.
I'm expect genuinely. I obviously last season it got very close. I can somewhat expect a Bulls travel to Ellis Park this season and a loss. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
They haven't even made the playoffs, right? Have they? Brett, have they ever made the playoffs?
Yeah, no, they just missed out last year. Just.
You see, and it's funny time for them to kick on. Yeah. You see, it's funny time for them to kick on. The only issue is like they're playing against the other South African teams. They have to play against them twice. It's not like Benetton or Edinburgh. They can play the Italian teams twice. You know, it's a bit unfair in terms of that, but I mean, it is what it is. We'll go to the Bulls. The Bulls lost. The shittiest one.
Thinking about the weekend already. Jeepers.
Yeah. Stormers. Brett, it's not looking good at the moment. I still got high expectations. I think we'll surprise a lot of people, but we need our box back because they are our form of creativity.
Yeah,
and I just don't see where the groundwork comes from.
Yeah, I also feel like De Villiers, the under-21 captain, needs to be flown over because we don't have a fetcher in that side. And De Villiers is good. He's probably going to be like remember back in the day, a Derek Keane or a Stechenberg. What's that Bulls flag?
Deon Stafford.
Yeah, that Stachman. Yeah, he's gonna be like him.
Oh, those are the goats. Remember those guys?
Yeah, like proper Super Rugby players, just never good enough for the box. And I think that De Villiers is that guy. Gonna be Bueta from the Bulls, from the Sharks. Remember that red and black scrum cap? I think he's got the most Currie Cup tries in history.
I know who you're speaking about. Who you're speaking about.
Player like most Super Rugby tries, most Currie Cup tries, just not going to make the step up. But the Stormers kind of need him now.
Yeah.
Has he not been included in your traveling squad?
No, he actually captained an under-21 Western Province side this weekend.
That's crazy. Like, you'd think someone of that talent and captaining an under-21 South African team, at least to be in the squad. But I guess if you're not going to use him, play him somewhere else because he's still young. Like, you don't want the Oak to just sit on the sidelines at the age of 21,
Well,
and please, another youngster that has to come through is Imad Khan. Like, why is Stefan Ungerer still there? How many times do I have to... Like, seriously, I don't have
Every
a
time I
grudge
see
against...
that name, I just think of Casual going...
I don't have a massive issue with the guy. It's just like not good enough. Imad Khan could be the future of South African Springboks. I mean, how young is that guy? He's absolutely brilliant. He can kick a goal as well.
Yeah, also playing under 20s.
So if you want to say, listen, okay, well, we don't want Mani to kick a goal. He can kick a goal. Mani can just play his game. And to be fair, he's got gas and he's got some creativity with him. So if we can have Herschel Yankees and Imad Khan, beautiful, sensational. But now we're running out onto the field and we have to save this game against the Ospreys. Who do I see at 9? The pace merchant himself, Stefan Ungerer. And it's just like, what are we doing? Make it make sense. Like we lost Paul de Wet, who we all actually said, okay, well, he's decent, right? And now I see Ungerer every weekend. I can't get in another 9. Get in another 9 or bring Imad Khan back up. It's dreadful.
Revan,
Yes.
tell us about your team, please. Before this goes on.
Well, first, we'll start off with the expectations for the Stormers. And I'm actually going to, well, you guys let me know what your expectations are. I personally think you guys are good enough to finish top 5, top 4. What do you
Should be
think?
good enough.
Top 1. No, but let's be serious.
We're talking about the league season, right?
We know that there's going to be a point where we're going to lose a few games and it makes it impossible to go first.
Yeah.
That happens all the time.
I think I'm saying Stormers are going to be 6. They're going to lose in the quarterfinals. I do feel like if a guy like Marnie, I see Sasha Feinberg and Gomazulu now is apparently out for 6 months. He's out until.
Don't worry, we got Yuri Mattia.
No, but all I'm asking, right, is just that they do that rehabilitation process to perfection. Like
That they did on Sia.
do
Give me
not
that.
ruin
Sia came back
that
like
kid's
Megatron.
career. If he's meant to be out, like Dobson said, if he's meant to be out for 8 weeks, he's out for 12 weeks. Like that's it. That oak must play for the Springboks 150 tests.
Yeah, but think about this. Last year, Breven, you and I went to Ellis Park to watch Stormers Bulls. Stormers Lions. Sasha had that phenomenal game, got injured in that game, and only played the last game of URC again. Like,
does that worry us that our youngsters do get injured? We just spoke about Kate Voliter. We see Henk van Wyk.
Big injuries, like 6
like
months.
Massive injuries.
All of them with their knees. What is going on? What's with these brittle? Now, listen, I've got some brittle knees as well. I'm not gonna lie, okay? But like, I'm not a pro rugby player. Kate Voliter, Sasha Feinberg, and Henk van Wyk knee problems.
Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what's happening in my opinion, because this happened to me when I joined.
Juice wearing off.
No, when I went to under 19s, I was 72 kilograms playing inside center. Obviously, I was told that I'm too light, and I had to pick up 20 kilograms in 2 months. 20 kilograms in 2 months. My ankles and my knees could not handle that pressure. I was snapping ankles and not snapping my knees, but snapping my ankles and hurting my knees to the extent that I couldn't even be bothered anymore. And I think that's what's happening. Too much weight too quick. And then obviously that massive workload.
Yeah. But Sasha was a big boy from the start.
Okay. Then it won't.
Yeah, but you know what? Maybe it's there's definitely factors to it, but I think as long as we can kind of learn from any mistakes that are made and also kind of nurture or look after these injuries properly and not just say, okay, your 6 months is up, get on the field type thing, make sure the knee's actually ready to go again. I think it's and obviously player honesty, because I didn't realize that would be an issue as well. Like I didn't realize Sasha would hide an injury. You have to be honest with yourself. If you aren't 100%, don't go and mess up your whole career. It's just it's not worth it. But yeah, I think Stormers strongest team, top 4.
Yeah, that would be my expectation for the Stormers as well. Like, if you look at the quality on paper, I know I just spoke a bunch of shit about a certain player, but he doesn't bring down the team. And I don't think he's a shit 9. I just think with the way that the Stormers play, we like this expansive rugby. And on paper, we should still be top 5, top 4, for instance. At least it's you, Brevin, because you can speak about the Bulls. But my main issue has always been, I do like this little contract thing that we've got going with the Griquas, where we can use their players as well in the URC. But when you have the likes of, if you think about who was our workhorses during last season that actually did a great job, you look at the likes of Anamakaba, you look at the likes of Daimani. There's no Ivan Riz at the moment. He's out for a long time. Sasha's gone. And it's like, even without the injuries, the amount of players that we sell, but we don't get anyone back in. Like, where is the investment back into this team? Like, we build players up, and then all of a sudden we sell them, yet we are the team that's winning, right? Like, the team that usually wins or plays in the finals or one of the big teams. Why can't we act like the Bulls and say, okay, well, we're going to go get someone from our competitors, pick out a JC Pretorius there, maybe bring back a Kwagga Smith. Why are we bringing back the likes of Steven Kitsoff, for instance? I'm nothing against Steven Kitsoff, but that wasn't what was needed. We know we need a fetcher. Our fetcher is 40 years old, Dion Fourie. I mean, are we going to see him again? We lost Namakabo, who's another fetcher. You know, like those workhorses, young workhorses that can literally be with this team for a while. We sell them and don't get anyone back in. It's annoying.
It is. And I think something that the Bulls have done is they don't necessarily go and sign the stars per se, like the massive Springbok stars, but they'll get players who have the potential to either get there one day or like on the fringe type thing. And I think the Stormers should do the same, because I see the Stormers being a side where you are able to grow your game. I mean, look at Marnie, look at Damien Willemse, look at Sasha, look at Ivan Roos. These are players that obviously have grown their game at the Stormers, and they didn't have to be Springboks from the start. So, for example, like Brett said, why isn't a Paul de Villiers being added to a squad, you know, giving the guy, breed the guy, like, honestly, bring fresh new blood into it, bring hunger into the team. So it is frustrating. I mean, it sounds like my football team United at a stage where their owners just wanted the money to themselves. But I don't know. I just think that Stormers, I don't know. Is the funds available? Do you know more about that?
I don't know, but the funds are the biggest load of shit, right? Because if you're a winning team and you have ambitions to compete at multiple levels, like, why do we have to sell people to get more people in? You know, like, we want to we talk about squad depth to compete in all these competitions and stuff. Now we have a contract with the Griquas, even though I like it, but we're not getting in like known boys that are already known for doing the job, even though they're not a massive name. Right? We're not doing that. You look at this thing where we couldn't get a Springbok ticket in Cape Town because the owners or whatever of the Stormers said you have to buy Stormers season tickets to get a ticket to the Springboks. Like, that is ridiculous. What are we doing? Right? Sell your tickets for the Stormers and sell why do you have to buy a season ticket for the Stormers to actually? Why is it all about the money? I understand it's also a business, but to buy a franchise rugby team and stuff, that shouldn't be seen as a business. That is to, like, out of passion and whatever. Like, to make money out of this, you can forget about it. Like, it's stupid. I hate it.
And the thing is, something I've noticed is if you watch South African teams play, one of the most passionate crowds is the Cape Town one. Like, it's just they're there to support their team no matter what, whether it's good, bad, whatever. But like, if I'm a player and I'm looking, obviously where you finish is a big factor as to where you move. But we can put Sharks, Bulls, Stormers in this conversation, right? All three, I think, realistically have a good shot at a semi-final this year, or possibly even a final, right? If you think of those three teams and where you'd want to play your rugby, like, I'd pick Cape Town all day long. Like, genuinely, I just think it's a place where it's a lot less issues, in my personal opinion, and we won't get political or whatever, but I just think it's a place that you can enjoy your rugby as a player. I feel like there's a lot of, but anyways, like, if the owners or the business or the owners of whatever of the Stormers aren't ready to put down, you know, like, and it does, like you said, it doesn't need to be big money signings. It just needs to be people that like, for example,
shows you care by not selling all of our talent and not getting anything back in.
100%. Do you know if that Nohamba thing is concrete? Is it like?
I don't know. I
Because
don't know.
that would be a good, like, that's the kind of moves you want to see happen.
Yeah, of course that's a good move, but that's one.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what you would like to see happen, is those types of signings come in. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Anyway,
definitely.
let's leave it. Let's leave it. We'll talk about the Bulls. Otherwise, I'll just cry. We'll talk about the Bulls. What is our expectations for the Bulls? Surely, first things first. If you get to the final again, you can't lose it again. You
Yeah, it's a
can't lose it
problem.
3 times in a row. That will be a massive problem.
Yeah, big, big. That's something that I think needs to change. Is obviously, I'm not saying we don't win the big games, because obviously we had to beat Leinster last year. We had to beat that Stormers curse when we beat them at Loftus. Like, there were many things we had to overcome. But, like, for example, in the Curry Cup against the Sharks, we blew that, and obviously that we would have gone to the final and whatever. Obviously, your URC final against the Stormers, blew that, which I wouldn't say was a choke. I think the Stormers were a very, very good side that year, but obviously the Bulls couldn't pull that off. And then last year was a complete bottle job, like 100%. I mean, or last season, sorry. I mean, 13 points up at halftime. You're at Loftus, you're at altitude, and you just let them back in and you let them win. That's just, like I said, that's a mental thing. That's not your ability. So definitely a mentality change when it comes to the big moments. Something needs to happen there. But, like, what I liked from this past weekend, for example, is obviously we weren't playing well, but we found a way to win, and that's what needs to happen this year. Is just finding a way to get those results, because you're not going to always be at your best. You're going to look like absolute rubbish sometimes. It's just how it is. It's a long season. But honestly, if you look at the Bulls squad, what they've done, where they've been, they cannot expect anything less than a semi-final. Like,
Yeah, I
genuinely.
mean, your depth is obviously it's not Sharks quality in terms of having Springboks there or whatever, but you've got quality in depth.
Mm.
Um, my expectations for the Bulls is nothing less than another semi-final. I think your team is good enough. You are very strong at home if you know how to travel, right? I mean, that's brilliant. I just kind of think maybe you could do with another 10. That's probably it.
Yeah,
But
probably.
if you look at the way that the Bulls play, it's attractive rugby. You know, they beat teams down physically as well. Um, the Bulls are just a very well balanced team at the moment, and I can't see anything. I think anything other than a semi final would be a failure of a season. If you look at your
I
previous
agree.
seasons
I do
and with the
agree.
players that you've added, you have to,
Yeah, I do agree.
especially in the
And
Champions Cup as well. I don't want to see a
yeah,
C team go and play there. Commit to it.
yeah. I mean, obviously we play Northampton Saints, the Premiership champions, in December. I'm going to go to that, and I'd like to see a team get picked at full strength.
Mm.
And when we get to the round of 16 of the Champions Cup, don't send. I understand, like, the players. I understand we care about player welfare and traveling and stuff, but there's some games
Not
where
in a final.
yeah, no, I get
Not
you.
in finals.
There's some, like, games where it's just like you cannot just send your weaker side and say we forfeiting, basically. And if they get the job, I look good as a coach who selects that team, and I had the ability to equip them to win. But it's not worth it. We want to be recognized in South Africa as teams that are able to compete at the highest level. I want to
Yeah.
see a Stormers versus, or Bulls versus Toulouse, final, or Toulon, or sorry, or Saracens, or that type. I want to see him in the Champions Cup final. Like,
Mm.
it's just why wouldn't
In
you?
the end, Revan, like as you mentioned, there is player welfare, but this is what they signed up for. You think those guys like Willie Leroux and those guys, they didn't want to go and play in that Saints game? Obviously they did. Pick the boys to go and play. It's their job. It's their job to go and win those. Yeah, it's drastic traveling and stuff, but I understand if that's a group stage game. That was a quarter final. A quarter final. They first team Bulls, I thought they had the potential, especially when you saw they beat Leinster, full strength Leinster. They are strong enough to play in the final there. I am convinced of it. You put a full strength Bulls team there that's fired up. Not only do they have the potential to play there, they have the potential to win this thing. I won't use traveling as an excuse because other teams have to travel to us as well. We've played in this tournaments for long enough to say, yeah, okay, we've got to make peace with the traveling. We've had time now to build your squad, to get that squad depth going. I know we're not just traveling in Europe. It's a lot better than traveling to New Zealand and to Australia, but we never used that as an excuse while we traveled there. The Lions, when they were performing well, they never used that as an excuse, right? Because we know other teams also have to travel here, and it's part of what we've signed up for. It should be an honor to play in these type of things. And obviously, I'm not lashing that purely on the Bulls. All the South African teams. I don't want to see this bum fluff rotation thing the whole time. Not in finals. I don't care if it's just a normal URC game playing against, for instance, the Scarlets. You can rotate a bit, but not put out D teams, guys that you've never heard about or whatever. Keep them in the academy. Play your team. My opinion.
Yeah, obviously, I just think that when players need to be brought in, don't bring them in all at once. I think have some structure around it in the sense that I'm sending in some new guys with guys that I know can get the job done. And obviously, that's when current players need to step up their leadership and then put players that come in under their wing. And it's that type of thing. So, yeah, like you said, Bulls, nothing less than a semi-final.
Expectation, top 4 in the league, semi-final for me.
I agree. I agree. I personally, the way I see the depth that South African teams have, all of them should be within the top 8 by come the end of the season. I mean, Lions maybe not, but I do think they have the ability to be there. So I would be super chuffed with the top 8 that has 4 South African teams in it. And then where it goes from there, it's all about what you've built for until then. So I do expect, I mean, I'd love to see Sharks, Stormers, and Bulls in the semi-final. I mean, that would be great, but that's asking a lot. But anyway.
Yeah, where's Leinster? Where's Munster? Where's Glasgow? Anyway,
absolutely.
That will wrap it up, people. Thank you very much for watching. This one has pushed an hour. Thanks for watching. Please do remember to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Cheers.